know what I'm thinking? I'm thinking we ought to give up. Leave the whole outfit. Everything behind and go back to civilization.
What's that you say? Go back? Well, tell my old grandmother. My, what great prospectors. 2 shoe clerks reading the magazine about prospecting for gold in the land of the midnight sun, south of the border or west of the Rockies.
Shut your trap! Shut up or I'll smash your head flat!
Go ahead, throw it. If you did, you'd never leave this wilderness alive. Without me, you two would die here more miserable than rats.
I'll leave him alone. Can't you see that the old man's nuts?
Nuts! Nuts, am I? Let me tell you something, my 2 fine bedfellows. You're so dumb there's nothing to compare you with. You're dumber than the dumbest jackass. Look at each other, will you? Do you ever see anything like yourself for being dumb specimens? You're so dumb, you don't even see the riches you're treading on with your own feet. Yeah, don't expect to find nuggets of molten gold. It's rich, but not that rich. And here ain't the place to dig. It comes from someplace further up. Up there. Up there's where we got to go. Up there.
Today we are playing as Chile with the goal of invading all of South America. Now, if you're asking yourselves, how is it possible for one of the weakest countries in the region to fight off nations like Brazil and the coalition of Peru-Bolivia? Well, my friends, the answer is gold.
Money.
That's right. In true CK3 player fashion, I will be trying to make as much gold as possible in order to skyrocket our national revenue, and then I will pump those hard-earned Chilean pesos into my military so we can invade the entirety of South America. But we aren't only going to be looking at the economy and the military this game. I also plan on abusing a meta I've been seeing floating around on the Victoria 3 subreddit. Enacting Council Republic, getting rid of capitalists who are taking hard-earned money away from our workers ends up making your buildings as profitable as ever, and we will be testing all of that today. So will we be able to turn communist Chile into one of the world's major powers? You'll have to watch to find out. So since we are right in the beginning of the game, I'm going to go ahead and do a few changes. First of all, I'm going to upgrade our taxes to high, drop our wages for our government and military down to low, just so we can crank out as much money as possible right now. I'm also going to go to our military and switch over to the lowest tier for everything, just to save me a little bit more money. And then for our buildings, the first thing I'm going to do is build 2 construction centers in Santiago. If we look at our construction centers, I'm going to change them to iron frame buildings, which is going to require us to have inputs as construction instead of just fabric and wood. We're then going to need tools, fabric, wood, and iron. Switching to iron frame will get us a lot more construction per week. Right now we're only making 5 construction per week, and each construction center that we would build, where can you see this? With wooden buildings, you can see that would only get us 2 construction per week, but if I go to iron frame, it'll get us 5 for each construction center. But in order to support them, we're going to need 50 iron from each, so we're going to need 100 iron total. Plus, I think we are using iron as an input in our tooling factory already, but luckily for us, we do have some iron mines in our capital. So I'm going to increase the size of the iron mines by 2, and then in order to prepare for unlocking atmospheric engine. So the reason we want to go for atmospheric engine pump here is because it introduces a new production method for all our mines, but most importantly, our gold mines. If we were to change off of picks and shovels to atmospheric engine pump, it actually doubles the amount of minting we get from these buildings, and minting is amazing because it goes directly into our national revenue. And on top of that, there are a bunch of percent multipliers we can apply to our minting value in order to increase our money more and more. We're going to need coal to run those engines, so I'm going to build a coal mine. And finally, I'm going to build also a logging camp in our capital because wood is an important input into our construction centers. Okay, so we just unlocked atmospheric engine pump. So this is a pretty big milestone because now if I go to our gold mines, you can see we can switch over to that production method, and it's going to cost us coal, which is good because we just finished building a coal mine, which should start filling out very nicely. I am working on a second tooling workshop because, as you can see, tools are pretty expensive right now. So having 2 tooling workshops in both these states should help regulate that. I honestly think for next research, I'm just going to rush for water tube boiler because this will let me get, where is it, condensed engine pump for all our mines, which is just going to end up making us even more money. You can already see we're making 3K from minting instead of the 1.5 we were making before. And you can see this big jump right here. And actually I can do the same thing in the iron mine to get cheap iron. And I'm actually going to keep subsidizing my iron mine, even if it's going to lose me money, because having cheap iron will just reduce the price we have to spend on construction goods. You can see this huge drop in what we're spending on construction goods because of that switch we just did. And when we finish making this tooling factory in just 1 week, we should greatly affect the tool price. Yeah, as you can see, it's dropping very nicely. And yeah, there you go. So we're pretty much even when constructing now. Oh, we just passed landed voting, which is actually very good.
I'll not ask to share in what you've made so far, only in the profits to come. Well, what do you say?
Do you mind, stranger, letting us talk this over alone among ourselves?
Not at all. Go ahead. I have to look after my burros anyway.
Okay, there you go. So we just finished the second tier coal mine in Los Rios, which is our secondary state, and now we're making almost 1,000, just over 1,000 gold per month while constructing. I am making some paper mills so we can switch our government production to the next tier, which should regulate this bureaucracy deficit, which actually is giving us a 15% tax waste. It also looks like we just unlocked, where is it, water tube boiler. So now, if I were to go to our gold mine, which we're making we're almost 6 weeks, we're just 6 weeks away from making another tier, I can actually switch this to condensed engine pump. Maybe coal could be something we switch over to condensed engine pump just to have really cheap coal. Because I'm going to subsidize my coal and I'm going to subsidize our iron, because both of those things are going to be really important for us getting as much gold out of the ground as possible. Oh baby, so we're currently constructing, as you can see, we're making ports in Santiago and Los Rios. Even though we are constructing 15 to 15, you can still see we're making almost 10K per week right now. So I'm going to drop our taxes again to the middle tier, and this is good. If we can keep this income high, I think it could be time to start making a play and improving our military strength, because I do really want to invade Argentina, and right now they don't have any diplomatic alliances, and I want to take state. I really want to take this state over here, and hopefully nobody would join them in order to help defend this here. If we look at Argentina's power projection, which is what you can see if you hover over their military, they have 52 right now, while we, since we set all our military to like the first tier in the barracks, we only have 10. If I were to switch these to line infantry and then mobile artillery, it should shoot our military strength up quite a nice amount. But in order to do that, I will need access to this arms industry. So I guess I will queue up one of those after I'm done with these 2 buildings that I've queued. So already just 9 years into the game, we already increased our GDP from 800,000 to 3 million just from fully exporting all the gold we can from these nice gold mines here. Okay, so I'm making my first arms industry in Santiago because I did switch our production method in our barracks to line infantry and mobile artillery, which should have improved our military strength. Yeah, you can see we have an army power projection of 59 now, which is a little bit better than Chile. I mean, I said Chile, I mean Argentina. I did build a second logging camps, or third logging camps down here in this state where we're currently colonizing, because I want to make this logging camps get all of our hardwood for us. The hardwood is a good input that we actually need for this arm industry over here. I think we are ready to invade Argentina. I'm going to go for a conquer war on this state right here, because you can see they have a tier 3 gold mine that we can take. In order to fight this war, I'm going to need to recruit a general. It does cost a little bit of bureaucracy, but since we have enough paper to supply our government industries, that's not a problem. Oh, so I think they added their conscripts in because now they have 11. But even at that, I think we're still strong enough to be able to defeat them here, but we're going to have to see when this war starts. Okay, here we go. We have the first battle.
What? What the fuck?
Of course, we roll a awful battle condition, which doesn't help us here. And look at that, we have started to take land, and they're already going to be losing 2.6 exhaustion per week here, while we're only going to be losing 2.5, so we shouldn't have any trouble invading them.
Very nice.
There you go. So not only do we have this beautiful state under our control, but we also are getting some war reparations from Argentina, so they're going to be paying us just over $750 per week from those. We do have low market access in the state we just took. The only way we can increase this is actually by building railways, and we don't have that technology unlocked, so I'm currently researching it. But in order to have railways, you can see we're going to need more coal and engines, and in order to make engines, we're going to need steel. So we will have to completely change the way our market is tuned right now in order to incorporate motor industries and steel. But I think we should be able to do that, and getting railways is going to help because you can see we are pushing the limits on our infrastructure.
Nani?
It also looks like we have some natives rising up against us, so I'm going to recruit another general just so I can put my units on two fronts at once. Oh, there you go. So it looks like they actually completely collapsed, and now we have 3 gold fields, which are pretty good. These things are not exactly like gold mines, but when they get exhausted, they can actually turn into gold mines, so this will give us a lot more minting. So I think I'm going to change the way the police work in our government. Right now we have no police, but I think I'm going to go to dedicated police force.
Oiga, señor, we are federales, you know, the mountain police.
If you're the police, where are your badges?
Badges? We ain't got no badges. We don't need no badges. I don't have to show you any stinking badges.
This way I can improve the opinion with these 3 groups, because I do want to pass some laws that are going to hurt those groups down the line. So if I can get their opinion up with us right now, I think that'll help us a little bit later. Also right there, you can see I just took the option that will hopefully increase the clout of the trade unions in our government, because if I want to pass proportional taxation, which you can see will gain us a pretty healthy amount more tax just from moving around like the different ways we're taxing people. But the problem is the only people who support this are the trade unions, so if we can get the trade unions to have more power, then we should be able to pass that without any problems. Our gold fields actually depleted down here in this state, but we got 3 gold mines which we can construct, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. I also am building a railway down here, so that should get the infrastructure up to support those gold mines when they finish, and then we should be making some very nice money. Ooh, okay, so we just passed multiculturalism. I think the petit bourgeoisie in our government hate us right now. Don't think that's a problem. They're not too strong. And if we look at our laws now, we both have multiculturalism and no migration controls. So hopefully what that means is we should see some migration in some of these states at least.
You've got
Ooh, this is interesting. So Britain has offered to take on all our debt right now. I might do it, honestly. We'll owe them an obligation, but like, what are they going to use that for? And also by reducing the coal price.
You've got mail. No, I don't think I will.
And yeah, everything seems to be looking pretty good right now. We're constructing, still making 2K per week. No complaints on my end. Okay, so I may not have been complaining about my start to this game, but I honestly think we just weren't growing fast enough. And this will continue for another 55 years. And it's only in editing this video, I think I realized what the problem was. So in the beginning, I talked about how I was subsidizing my industry buildings like coal and iron in order to give me cheap construction goods, but What this would end up doing is just raising the wages in those buildings to extreme amounts so that those buildings, as well as all the other buildings that I end up subsidizing, become not very profitable. And because of that, I am not able to build too many construction centers, and that's really the whole point of this game, is to get as many construction centers as you can as early as possible, just in order to build as many buildings as possible and then just skyrocket your overall GDP, national revenue, and all that good stuff. So only after another 45 years of this do I realize we need to make a change, and what I decided was that change would be communism. Because if you actually switch to a council republic, you get rid of all of the capitalists in your country, and they are just soaking up a huge amount of wages in all my buildings. So we're going to come back in here and I'm going to be showing you guys this change to communism and how much it actually saves my whole game. So it's been a couple years since we puppeted Peru. I have my balance, like we're making money, but we're just spending so much on subsidies. Honestly, don't think it was a good idea to subsidize some of these buildings, because I think what that did was actually make the wages like way too expensive in our country. Like, sure, our standard of living went up really quick, but the problem is like we're just having to pay people way too much. Like in our coal mines, for example, you can see we're paying 18K in terms of wages. So what I think I'm going to do to try to remedy this like a little bit, we're going to see if this works, but I'm going to pass, or I'm going to try to pass Council Republic. We have a high chance of this going through just because our trade unions have such a high clout in our government. We'll see what happens with this revolution. You can see it's going to have 58, it's going to go up to 58%, but it shouldn't have enough strength to actually create a revolution, or at least I hope so. Oh, okay, so we just passed Council Republic, and you can see we have a beautiful new flag here. We'll have to see what that does with our income. I think it actually went down a little bit because of that. Consumption taxes look like they went down. We are still using all of our construction, and if we weren't constructing, we would be making 21,000, which is decent. I'm also trying to bring down our subsidies. I'm just trying to balance everything better, like making more steel so that I have to spend less on things like these motor industries, because they're really sucking a lot of money for me subsidizing them. So if I'm able to reduce the steel, coal, and tools price, that should have an effect here. Ooh, and already with a few changes, we're only losing 1.5K when constructing now. We are still spending 31K on construction goods, most of that being steel, and I am making more steel workshops right now, so hopefully that will help. And there you go, we're actually making money now, and we're still using all of our construction. So if we can keep this up, that would be pretty massive. I honestly think communism had a great effect here, because now you can see we're using this workers cooperative owner production method. And I think the whole reason that actually helped us a lot is because we don't have to pay capitalists anymore. You can see we don't have any more capitalists, and they were taking a huge amount of money from pretty much all our buildings. And look at this, we just hit 20K while constructing. I'm going to finally drop our taxes down to high from very high. We're still making money even at that. Like the more we get, we're also spending almost 9K on interest. So this is a big change. I'm gonna switch to machine gunners in our barracks, which is going to require us to have more ammo and small arms. So let's go take a look at our buildings and see if we can switch some things around just to be making more arms. Everything's actually regulating pretty nicely now. So I think we should be able to launch a puppet war against... We'll see who joins it. Hopefully none of the big boys will join it. We could actually add the war goal of puppeting New Granada as well, because they're deciding to support them here. If we win this war, we can have both of these guys as our puppets, and then I think we should be able to be strong enough in order to invade Brazil. Okay, here we go. The war has broken out. We just successfully got machine guns to pass, so now you can see we have a pretty strong army, and we should be winning a lot of these battles here. There you go. and we're going to start taking land in this war pretty easily.
Gotcha,
Okay,
bitch.
so our war has finished against Ecuador. We got them out, and now we are fighting against New Granada. We would have to reach all the way to their capital here. So one thing I could actually do, which would be interesting, is do a naval invasion. So we have a better chance of capturing their capital. I think what also could happen with this naval invasion is, since all their troops are defending here, we could just come up against 0 men and really bamboozle them. Oh, and look at this. Just like I said, we all their units are defending over here in this front, so we're just fighting against no one. We actually take the capital here, can just keep pushing, and you can see they're going to be losing 10 exhaustion per week because we did a cheeky little naval invasion when they didn't expect it. And there you go. So we also have puppeted New Granada. If we look at our diplomatic packs, you can see 2 huge jumps from that. And look at this, we're making 20k while constructing still, so our total income would be 53 otherwise. I'm going to drop our taxes again by 1 level to medium now, which our people should like a lot, should get rid of some radicals, increase our standard of living. We actually brought our rank all the way up to 8th right now. We almost have enough to be a great power. Oh, okay, so I started a puppet war against Venezuela, and then I kind of like looked away and I didn't realize the British have joined this. I'm not sure if they're actually going to mobilize anybody. Let's go into here and add the war goal of puppeting Brazil.
Gotcha.
And then let's take our military and start placing people on this front. And we'll have to see if the Brits actually send anybody into this war. Okay, here we go. I'm a bit nervous that we're fighting England here, but that being said, we should be able to make some pretty early advances here, especially considering they don't have any people on this front here, which is an interesting choice by them, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna do another cheeky naval invasion over here, because look, the Brazil capital is right here, so if we can take this, we can probably get them out of the war very early. Okay, and look at that, we
Gotcha.
have right away broken through because they didn't have anybody defending. Classic. So we actually captured the Brazilian headquarters, which means if we look at their war support, it should be dwindling very quickly now. I also put our taxes up to high just to stop the bleeding, because we don't have access to our little colony over here, and that's really hurting like all the buildings in here. We were getting some pretty important stuff from here, mainly opium, but now that we're really pushing into Brazil, as you can see, we should hit negative 100 on their war support pretty soon. And
Gotcha.
There you go. And then even over here, it looks like Venezuela will fall soon. If we look at diplomatic packs, Brazil is paying us 40k per week. Holy crap, that was massive. And we just got Venezuela, so we're going to get some more money from them. 3k per week. There's only Paraguay left. I'm going to just launch a quick puppet on them too. Oh, it says Austria and China, yeah, are going to join this, which is kind of whack. I don't see how they would be able to send their troops in to do this even. And now you can see we're still making a lot of money. I increased the size of our construction centers so we can construct stuff even faster than we're doing already. And you can see we're still making 20k. I think I have my taxes on low. I'm going to pump my government wages up to medium just to get our prestige up, because you actually lose 10% for having them on low and then 20% prestige for having it on very low. Looking at our market balance, you can see we need a lot more engines still. Other than that, glass. I think engines and glass are where we have gaps in our market. So I'm going to go ahead and build a couple more motor industries in wherever it seems the most profitable. Okay, so we just finally got out of debt. We are currently making 33k per week on medium taxes. Feels so nice. You can see we still are spending 43k on construction goods, so we'd be making even more money without this. I might drop our taxes just down to low to get our standard of living up a little bit more. You can see right now though, we are actually ranked 2 in terms of standard of living in the world. So communist Chile is a pretty nice place to live, I'm not gonna lie. Okay guys, so we have done it. We've reached rank 7 in the world, making us a major power, which is pretty huge. This now means that we could do things like puppet, a bunch of other people. Alright everyone, we have brought our GDP up to 60 million right now. Our standard of living is super good, 20.6. Our pops are just increasing like crazy. We have barely any radicals at least, and a ton of loyalists. I think we've done pretty well as Chile for this game. You can see our beautiful city of Santiago has grown quite nicely since the start. And we've pretty much taken all of South America for ourselves, barring the 3 European giants who are there. I think we would be able to conquer the Netherlands state here because they wouldn't be very strong. But Britain and France are still like number 1, number 3 in the world. So might take a little bit longer before I'd be able to take back those pieces of land. However, I still think we did an amazing job. We have 900 prestige right now. The people above us have like over 2,000, so it would be hard to match them. We are getting a lot of prestige from our army power projection, but 100 from being leading good producers, where we are the #1 producer for ironclads, gold, and telephones. So I think this is where I'm going to end this video. I think the major turning point in this game was when we switched to communism. We started producing way more money because we didn't have to pay the capitalist pigs anymore. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you learned a lot about Victoria 3 while watching, and I hope you had some fun as well. I'll be seeing you in the next video. As always, peace out.